Hey everybody, welcome back to the garage. So for today's project, we are going to be replacing the outer tie rod end on this 2005 Jeep Liberty. If this is your first time visiting my channel, please go ahead and click on subscribe, and also please click on the bell to receive all the updates and activities on my channel. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started on this project. Alright, so the first thing you want to do is you want to jack up the car. You use a floor jack to get it elevated, and then I have a jack stand under the main cross beam for the transmission. It's kind of like a belt and suspenders method, so you never want to take any chances when you're working underneath the car. So, alright, let's go get the wheel off. 19mm impact socket and an air tool. We're going to remove the lug nuts off the tire. So now with the wheel removed, what you want to do next is take some penetration fluid and spray down the lower part of the tie rod end, and then spray down the threads of the inner tie rod end and also the jam nut. So the tools that you're going to need to remove it, the nut on the tie rod end is a 19mm. The nut on the jam nut is a 24mm. And what you want to do is, when you're loosening the jam nut, just crack it. There's no need to back it off 4 or 5 turns. All you really need to do is crack it and just remove the friction that's being held onto the shoulder of the tie rod end. And assuming the tie rod end is the same distance from the shoulder of where the jam nut is located to the center line of the tie rod end, when you put it back on, as long as you haven't moved the jam nut 4 or 5 turns, you should be able to get the tie rod end and put it on there without the need of going down to the alignment shop, as long as you don't back that out, because then you're not increasing or decreasing the length of the tie rod end. Alright, so this is an example of everything that you expect should be an easy job. Sometimes it doesn't go that way, and this is why you need to have an inventory of tools to get the job done. So as you can see, I had to cut the tie rod end with an angle grinder to get it off, because what happened was, so this is a nylock nut, and even I didn't heat it up or anything like that, but during the course of backing it out, the nylock nut just completely froze on the stem of the tie rod end, and even holding it with a wrench and using the 24 to get it off, the thing was bound up. Even so, just broke out the angle grinder and zip after about a minute, was able to get it off and get it off the Jeep. So it's one of those things you gotta kind of be prepared for. Sometimes stuff like this does happen, but as long as you have the right kind of tools in your arsenal, you can get the job done. So here's the replacement tie rod end. So this is a nicer tie rod end that was on there. It has a greasable joint on it. Everything looks pretty good. The length is the same from the shoulder to the center line of the tie rod end, so that we shouldn't have to do any adjustments for the alignment. Alright, so after about 5 minutes, the new tie rod end has been installed. A couple things you want to do is take the jam nut and tighten it up against the shoulder, and then on the nut that's actually holding the tie rod end into the knuckle, that gets torqued down to 80 foot-pounds. Make sure you torque that down correctly to avoid any damage or anything like that. And essentially at this point, the only thing that you have to do is put the tire back on. The lug nuts on the hub, those get torqued down to 90 foot-pounds. Take it out for a drive, see how you did. If for some reason the part that you did buy was not the same dimension from the shoulder to the center line, go ahead, bring it down to the alignment shop just to make sure that it's not completely out of whack. But essentially that's it. I hope you guys liked this video. As you saw, it's really not that involved in getting it off. It's pretty straightforward. Just take your time and you can do this. If there's any questions, comments, concerns, go ahead and leave them in the comments box. I always love getting feedback from everybody. And as always, thanks for watching and have a great day. See ya. Bye.